countertop. So,
well, let's get into what's really hot in these streets.
what is that?
The Epstein files.
Why is that hot?
Because everybody and their mama all over the world is talking about it.
So what? What difference is it going to make?
They want them to release.
I got it, but what difference is it going to make?
So listen, Congress is going to be voting tomorrow to release. They're expected to vote tomorrow on Tuesday on a measure that will compel the Justice Department to make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format all files pertaining to Epstein within 30 days.
That may or may not work because we've got the separation of powers, judiciary, legislative, and executive. And the Justice Department is part of the executive. So when you allow one branch of the triumvirate of governmental branches to dictate to the other, you start trampling on the Constitution. So I'm sure the Epstein files will come out eventually. I'm sure what's going to happen is it's going to be a great disappointment. And all of the inquiring minds that just have to know are not going to find anything very satisfying, or they're going to find all kinds of clues that the conspiracists will try to put together and say this is pointing to this, that, and the other. And I don't know. It's like a distraction. Does it reduce the price of gas? The ridiculous price of food, the horrible things you're having to pay in a restaurant now to get what you used to be able to get at a good restaurant. You're playing at Mickey D's. You see the articles that are saying that the poor folk and the lower class folk can't afford to go to Mickey D's now because it costs too much. Stuff like that is what counts. And Epstein files don't have a damn thing to do with it now.
Well, Trump, he took questions and he said that he is for it, for them to vote. And he's like, okay, release the file. So I want to play a couple of minutes of this.
Yeah, them to vote, fine. Or is this?
Well, he said he would sign the bill to release
I know he said
the Epstein files.
But is this another dodge? And what we're really looking at is the files are not so much being sequestered by the Department of Justice, which is under him, meaning President Trump, but under some sanction that Congress has put on another situation that everybody's trying to say it ain't our fault, it's their fault. Nobody wants to claim up, and then so what if they do?
All right, let me play this.
Just to clarify something you posted on Truth Social last night, you urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. All I want is for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they go way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars, and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time.
Yeah, it's a dodge. In other words, it detracts attention from an F up. You have had the seat of power and you've done nothing with it except mess up. You want something to distract attention from that fact. So again, what does it have to do with the price of anything that you have to pay today or the conditions that you have to deal with? Nothing. It's exactly what I said. Now, there's one interesting thing here. I do understand all of the problems with the assassinations of John and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King. There's just one thing nobody officially wants to ask me, because I'm the one person in this country that figured out what happened, because I had access to everything in the James Earl Ray file, and I just put it together because the people that had been looking at it didn't have the knowledge base to do much with it. So I know what happened, and I'll tell you right now very quickly. J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI recruited a two-man snipers team from the Quantico, Virginia Marine Sniper School, right across the tarmac from the FBI Training Academy. They supplied the weapon, which was an XM-21, the ammunition, and they had the whole scene cased out, and they had the shot taken from the fire station second floor with this two-man hit team, and they covered it up. And James Earl Ray was one of 4 or 5 patsies and was the most convenient one, and they ran through the game, and they were responsible for doing the investigation and of course they didn't implicate themselves, and they killed King, not for civil rights, but because they were worried about him galvanizing the anti-war movement and revitalizing labor. Okay. The big debate was whether he would be more dangerous as a dead martyr or as a live agitator who would revitalize labor and galvanize the anti-war thing.
All right. Now, well, getting back to the Epstein files. So something else came out which was very interesting, because back in 2019, during a congressional hearing with Michael Cohen, I believe that was Trump's former lawyer, a Democratic representative from the Virgin Islands, Representative Plaskett, she was actually being texted by Epstein during a congressional hearing, and he was telling her what to say or what to ask Michael Cohen during a congressional hearing. So I want to play that clip.
By the way, do you know how often it happens? That happens most of the time, because most of the people that are in Congress are answerable to somebody besides their constituents.
This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign, or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot.
So as she is asking that question, who is Rona, he then texts her 2 minutes later saying, good work. So he was basically coaching her to ask Michael Cohen specific questions that goes against Trump, because this was during the time when they were really trying to go out.
It happens all the time.
So what happens all the time?
What you're hearing, everybody uses access to a congressional or senatorial representative, and they call them while proceedings are going on, and they suggest questions, they demand questions, they want answers, and somebody says this is a VIP constituent, so they try to respond.
What are you talking about?
In other words, I have done something like that on occasion. Because
you cannot wait. You cannot text a sitting congressperson while they're in the middle of a congressional hearing to question, because you're telling her what to ask that person.
Most of them are too stupid to know what to ask. They're being told what to say, and their 23-year-old assistant.
Judge, what I'm saying is, it's not her assistant, it's not her aide, it's not a colleague.
But it's not a courtroom. There is no sanction.
That is against protocol.
There's no law.
Procedure.
There's nothing that says you can't do it. I don't think there's any rules.
It is. Well, you don't know
I'm just saying that when they used to have congressional sessions, when somebody would be up in the gallery, they'd be shouting stuff down to people to ask somebody. I mean, it used to be a lot more primitive. They got more dignified, but I mean, nowadays there's nothing illegal about calling somebody on a cell phone.
So that's like if you are, well, it's okay. It's not like a lawyer, right? Because a lawyer can get a note passed to them.
That's only if the court says you can't.
Okay. That's if the court say you can or can't.
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 Usually, all the time, there are notes passed and forth. I mean, I've seen it go on in the courtroom, done it, where a note gets passed.
But here's the question, though. So here's the question. That's a blurred line there. Can an outside person that has no authority, no jurisdiction, no connection whatsoever to Congress at all, or government, text someone from their personal cell to their personal cell, say, ask him this?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. See, in other words,
I think that's your opinion.
No, it's not. Let me explain why very quickly. Congressmen and senators solicit letters from their constituents all the time about the opinions. They have solicitations. Write your congressman or your senator what you think about this. Sometimes the individual will bring in with him or her into the chamber the letters that had been written, the notes, the text, the emails, and they will look at them as they are questioning somebody. See, it's not just the representative or the senator. They represent a constituency in a congressional district. They represent a state. So what is happening is they are speaking for all of the people in their state, or all of the people, or a substantial number of the people in their district. So of course the district gets input into what their representative is up to on their behalf. So if one of them happens to be one of those people, like some of us are, who have numbers in our cell phones for members of the House or the U.S. Senate, you can just send them a text, ask this person so-and-so. It may be that you're functioning, which I have done in the past, as a close advisor to somebody who is sitting in one of these positions. So there never was a time when you could do it. It was just, it looked clumsy if you're doing it right there on the spot. But that's not saying that 10 minutes before, 5 minutes before, 5 days before, you had not been asked and you submitted what you wanted to say or suggested. Or I suppose now some congressman or congresswoman might, what do you think, Judge, about so and so? How about this for a question? Okay, try this one.
So, okay, so let's just say it's not illegal and it's not going against their congressional procedure. But after that, he gets locked up for being a pedophile and a human trafficker.
Yeah,
So,
but remember, you're innocent until you're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And as we have seen in the last 4 going on 5 years now, lawfare being applied, there are a lot of people that haven't done a damn thing. They've just been jacked around by people abusing the process of law for political and ideological purposes.
right. So, but I'm talking about this man had charges. He didn't go to trial yet because he ended up dying.
Himself, but I mean, he was.
But let me finish here. So with all the evidence mounted, and then you have the victims coming out speaking out on what he did. You have Giselle Maxwell locked up. He was a human trafficker and a pedophile, right?
I mean,
so now let me finish. So when this comes out that, oh, you had a very close relationship to a lot of Congress people, Democrats, texting them to ask certain questions to throw Trump under the bus. So now it does looks like the optics of it, and just plain as day. Okay, so Epstein was really in cahoots with the Democrat Party and with certain politicians to throw Trump under the bus. And then come to find out he was a big time human trafficker and pedophile. So
okay, well,
that's good for the Democrats.
That's one of the accusations that's been hurled at the Democrats, and they hurl stuff back the opposite direction. Pedophilia is part of the democratic process. They deal with trannies and people who are mentally ill, think they're the opposite sex, and crazy stuff and all of the 9 yards, and thinks they support people and, who want to put on sports bras and panties, but have swingers and want to go out and compete with the girls, or, they have to have debates on how much face hair you can have and still use the girls' bathroom. But, that's the Democratic Party. So they think they're doing well, and that these people are victimized because they're what the rest of us call perverts. So it is what it is. It's a point of view.
I want to play this last clip. It's a CNN panel talking about the Epstein files, and Tezlyn Figueroa. She actually hopped on one of the X Spaces like over a year ago. And she's very well versed in politics, boots to the ground, worked on a lot of campaigns and helped get a lot of people elected in local elections as well. So she was on the CNN panel. So I want to play this clip because, she's basically saying, okay, yeah, the Epstein's files are important, but we got to get back to business, and govern. So let me just play this clip.
I have never defend a pedophile. And let's hold up. No, wait a minute. I'm gonna finish my statement. I'm gonna finish my statement because we're gonna get this clear on the record. I have never defended a pedophile, nowhere I ever. What I'm telling you is in the community that I represent, who are focused on jobs, housing, transportation, talking about these white men and these young girls they were sleeping with is not going to change their life at all. Wait a minute, because you've said enough. Hang on, guys. You release the files. Do it all.
Yes, we should
send people to jail. Do it all. What I'm here to tell you is there has to also be a focus on what is going to happen when healthcare goes up in January.
Absolutely.
What is going to happen with people who are jobs, housing, transportation. And the messaging has all been Epstein, and not enough on who are you running in the midterms that are actually going to change the lives of every.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit pause on this again because I can promise you the government Cortez, why do you think?
Listen, as an independent at this table, I am here to talk about the reality of what it is. I get it. It's not whether it's legal, not legal. I don't know if you're confused on what's going on with the Republican Party. They don't give a damn what consequence has to be paid in order to push their agenda. And Democrats, I'm warning you that if you think you're going to continue to just wag your finger at this party and say shame, 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 they don't care if it's pedophilia, whatever, they murder, whatever. They don't care. So if Democrats are using this as a way to say all of a sudden there's going to be some moral high ground that all of a sudden that these voters are going to switch. No, let me finish. That they're going to switch their opinion. It's simply not that. What's going on with the midterms? Who are you running in the midterms? What's happening on the state level, the federal level? My uncle died 24 hours ago. 24 hours ago because his sugar went down and his diabetic medication. Who's talking about that? If you think that Epstein files is going to all of a sudden bring people to the polls, Donald Trump and the Republican Party, they're better at messaging the Democrats, even when they're wrong. They're going to switch this. They're going to switch it back. And Democrats are going to still, listen, I think in the federal penitentiary, that's the only place you can go where actually pedophilia actually can get you killed. Inmates have a better, right? But guess what? Republicans are not that. At some point, you're going to have to deal with the reality of what it is. Pedophilia is the worst thing you can possibly ever be. But this Republican Party does not care. Donald Trump does not care. There's no embarrassment. I suggest Democrats do is get some messengers on your squad. Get behind the Jasmine Crockett's. Get behind Governor Newsom. Get behind folks who have the same energy, the same delivery as Donald Trump. Because whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, a lie, not a lie, he's going to run with that message and it's going to unite his base. And Democrats have to have an opposition. You're always working from the from the defense and not the offense. And midterms are coming up. I can't say it enough.
Offense and defense, no one plays that on this show, as I'm quickly learning. Thank you guys very, very much.
Interesting observations, except she says Newsom, who is an asshole, Jasmine Crockett, who is an asshole, and that's what we're supposed to rally behind is two individuals, one male, one female, that aggravates the shit out of most normal people. And
yeah, I was working up into that part.
Yeah, are you an American black or are you a black American? Where the operative noun is American or is the operative noun black? You know, black is ordinarily a descriptive, but some people want to make it, the woke folk want to make it the operative defining phrase. You are black before you're an American, but other folks say you're an American who happens to be black. A black American, white American, brown, red, yellow American, which is okay, rather than being an American black, which is the black is the thing and the American becomes the description. It's kind of interesting, but I can see where she's coming from. But the point is although she's right, she's still stuck on the plantation because she looks at people who just try to say you need an enema and you need a laxative. And when the shit pops out, floods out, squirts out, it stinks. So the country needs an enema and it needs a laxative. And the Democratic Party is not likely to do either administer a laxative or enema. They need one. They're clogging up the alimentary canal.
Republicans need to get it together as well.
Yeah, they do. But the Democrats are the shit clogging up the passageways.
Thank you for that description.
I used to be a lifetime Democrat for a long time, but I can't stand the whole thing now. It's just sickening.